Hotel, Habarigani, Umani Habarigani. Today, Kwanzaa principle is faith, Imani. Yes, indeed, Imani, faith. That is to believe with all our hearts in our people, in the righteousness and the victory of our struggle, Imani. Habarigani, happy Kwanzaa, family. Once again, we come to you. Thank you for coming and joining me today. I'm Imamni, and my queen is behind the camera, the love of my life, my wife, the Honorable, Precious Vanessa Taifa. Asante Sana, Queen. I'd like to speak a little bit about our queens, brothers. It's still within the context of Kwanzaa. We got to understand what's happening with our people today and what's happening with our queens. I've been in conversation with brothers who basically have given up on our queens. And I've been in conversations with sisters who's basically given up on us. That's sad. But let's take it back. Let's go back. When we got here, we were a people. We were broken, traumatized, brutalized, starved, experimented on. All kind of horrendous things were done to us in order to get us to totally submit to our condition. And it worked. It worked. Young girls, before the age of puberty, were in the crowded slave quarters, small area, small room, smaller than this, 20 people laying on the floor. After working all day and all night, later on the young girl comes into the cabin, tired, in pain, scared, hungry. Later on that night, this big burly white man come in and grab her, pull her out the cabin, and repeatedly sexually abuse her all night long. Then throw her back into the cabin when it's time to go back to work. And that was done to us over and over and over again. It was done to the boys. And shamefully, it was done to the men. Now we think, why did the men let this happen? Why did they intervene on behalf of our young girls and our ladies and our sons and ourselves? Well, brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you, those brothers that did intervene, they're not here to tell their story. Their story has never been told. We didn't just complacently submit and do nothing. We did fight. And those of us that rose up to the challenge and fought, those were the ones that were killed. And all we had left for our women to look at, those men who didn't have that spirit, who didn't have that strength and that resolve, who didn't have that courage. And over, generation after generation, our women saw this. Our women understood, our queens understood, and they protected us, the ones that were left. Now, I'm not saying all of us are descendants of cowards. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying that our women have been through a lot. They've risen up. They carried the heavy load. They watched over us. They bonded the families. They denied themselves so that our families could remain families. And what did we do, brothers and sisters? Brothers. Did we help our sisters carry that heavy load? Were we there by their side? Did we take that bullet? Did we stand in front of her, even to this day? With this election that passed, those 2 election judges, our queens, were threatened because of them participating in this election. White men terrorized them. Where were we? Did we stand in front of those doors to protect those young ladies? I can't think of their names now. I know one was Moss, and it escapes me right now, but I'm sure you know the story. It was all through the news. These ladies were just doing their job. And these cowardly quite vicious, distorted thinking men terrorized them. They were scared. They had to move out their house. They shouldn't have had to move. We should have stood shoulder to shoulder as black men and say, to get to them, you gotta come through us. You gotta come through us. And we're not moving. But back to Kwanzaa. We got a chance, brothers, to do that heavy lifting. We got a chance now. Out of the spirit of Kwanzaa, we can have that faith now, that Imamni now, to do those things that men do, to operate around those solid moral principles of the male principle, and allow our women to be women, and allow our women to be the queens that they are. So, back to the happy occasion of Kwanzaa. I poured a libation in honor of all those women who've gone on, who felt abandoned, lonely, hurt, disheartened, scared, afraid. In honor of all those women, I say and I pour libation. Ashe. In honor of all, the one who created all, the universal oneness of divinity, who had allowed us to have this journey and participate on this vibration. The good and the bad, for all things do work for the good, in the universal oneness, divine creation, and it's preparing us to join with all creation in perfect harmony and balance through all eternity. To you, O great one, the Creator, I say and I pour libations. To all those great men and women who created creation, who created civilization, our ancestors, the African men, the African women of old, for we were a people, a mighty people. In our faith, Imamni, will restore ourselves to that same greatness that our ancestors, when they walked this earth. And we should have inherited and passed it on to our generation, to our posterity. But we do have faith that that can happen. To all those great men and women who built and gave the world the gift of civilization, I say and I pour libations. And to all of our own ancestors whose DNA is in our blood, who we descended from, our mamas, our papas, our grandmamas, big mamas, pawpaws, aunts and uncles. To you I say and I pour libations. And to all the unborn, you're waiting, and we're waiting, for you to come join us. Bring with you your divine gifts, and join our struggle for total liberation, so that we can return to our way of living, the highest level of humanity and civilization. To you I say, come join us, and I pour and I say libations. Ashe. And so it is.